we're almost at the top. Are you ready?
What is your memory of the issue before 73?
Illegal abortions, me and my friends scrambling to find something to help us with reproductive choice, seeing women get diseases from nasty, messy, illegal abortions and suffering and great pain, emotional and physical. It's just not right to make someone go through that.
How do you feel about thinking about a world where women don't have the right to choose?
I can't imagine ever going back, but if that ever happens, I will learn how to do the procedure and do it.
It's not a question of when life begins. It's therefore not a question of a woman's body and her choice. A woman's body is her own, but once conception happens, that is not her. That is a separate, innocent human life, and it's entitled to legal protection.
What kind of legal protection?
Well, abortion should be illegal. I would support, since I believe that unborn children are people, just like you and I, they're entitled to the same legal protection. A charge of murder would be appropriate for aborting a child. Right now, I think that should be imposed on doctors, not women, until the culture is at a point where we respect life enough to bring people to an understanding of what abortion actually does to women and to children.
If you had one thing to say to pro-life protesters who are out here today, what would it be?
Don't like abortion, don't have an abortion.
We already know the answer.
America's about freedom of choice.
Do they teach you about birth control in school?
No, they don't teach us about none of that yet.
No.
Not about birth control. But other things, yeah, but not birth control. She talks about, she thinks people that have abortion shouldn't be judged by it.
Shouldn't be judged by it.
You had to do a report, and I got an A on mine. I put abortion, why it for me is right, and for me why it's wrong.
And can you summarize what you had said in your paper?
I said, for some reasons it's wrong because I think it takes away a generation. And I think it's not only a woman's choice, that it's the father too and the family if they get involved. And not just the woman. So I think that's kind of wrong.
And why do you think it's right?
Because it's really their bodies and they're probably not mature enough to have a baby, or they probably don't have, like, some people are poor and they don't want to bring the baby up, suffering.
Assuming that someone is not going to abstain from having sex, wouldn't they be less likely to get pregnant and not be in a position where they felt that they wanted to have an abortion if they were practicing sex?
Well, they always have the choice of abstinence. And if you're willing to have sex, you should be willing to accept what comes with it.
I know somebody who had an abortion, but it wasn't necessarily like, it was a matter of the baby would have been born without a brain, and it was a very hard decision for her. Like, personally, I'd never have an abortion, but I don't think that necessarily means that I should stop somebody else from having it. I mean, there are so many other circumstances going on in the world that I can't even begin to understand. I don't see where me or President Bush or anybody, for that matter, should say you shouldn't have an abortion. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, as long as people are getting pregnant, as long as kids are out there having sex and are unprotected, they're going to be abortions. It's a matter of whether it's legal or not. It's a matter of whether it's safe. It's a matter of whether it's done in a hospital or it's done with a hanger. Like, it's gonna happen, and it's like I mean, the hanger pictures like really bother me, and I think they should bother people. I think that's why we should have legislation where we can have safer abortions, where it can be more accessible to women, and where you can get it on Medicare, because you can't get it on Medicare now. I mean, there are just certain things that I just think need to be done, and it's not getting done.
It's my body, it's my right to choose what to do with it.
And do you have anything to say about the great white phallus of the Washington Monument?
I was saying it earlier, I said, we're marching on the phallus, woo!
Who's Jim Cobb?
Jim Cobb is incarcerated for life right now in New York. He was found guilty of killing Dr. Barnett Slepian. 98, I believe, was the year that happened. He was found guilty last year, about a year ago, a little more.
And what would you say to the American public if you had their captive attention?
Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you. Call out to Him in mercy, sackcloth and ashes, as it were. Own your crimes and turn from them. That's the first step we need to take if we expect to cure the ills that plague our country and our culture.
What would you like to say to these people that are marching today?
Abortion is the killing of an innocent baby. Baby did no crime. It ought not be put to death as if it were a capital criminal.
And what if people make the argument that they just can't raise the child?
Then adoption is an alternative. Another alternative is suck it up and learn how to. Stop being so selfish and preferring your things or your position or your career or your potential, and do what's right. You have sex, you're signing up for a baby. It's really that simple.
Yeah, working for the ACLU this week, we had a social worker call with a 13-year-old girl who was pregnant as a result of incest. Her father was still her legal guardian. We weren't able to arrange an abortion for her.
And what about rape victims who become pregnant?
You hunt the bastard down who committed the crime, you make him pay, and then you support the innocent, whatever that might mean given the circumstances that could come to play.
And what if hunting them down just isn't a possibility?
I'm sorry, say again?
What if hunting the perpetrator down just is not a
Well, we do what we can.
I hate the workers of iniquity, he says, and this is iniquity, and he hates you for murdering little children. Yes, he does. He hates you for it, and you're going to stand in judgment for it. Baby killers! Baby killers! Foolish women! That's what happened when you start voting and get it out of the kitchen.
Have you been to any other pro-choice rallies before?
I've been to one before. Sheila's been to two. And I've been on the Republican Pro-Choice Coalition board, which is this body. Sorry, showing off my boobs. I don't believe that the majority of the Republican Party opposes women's rights. They certainly have very systematically taken control of the leadership in a lot of states.
So what brings you out here today?
Because this last term in Texas, our Republican leaders have really taken back women's issues. All of our funding has been cut, and it is very important. I work with a lot of welfare recipients, and it's very important that we bring back those rights. Our HMOs won't give us birth control, but they'll prescribe Viagra and they'll pay for it. So that's why I'm here.
And your sign says another Catholic for choice.
Another Catholic mom for choice, yes.
And why did you carry this sign today?
Because I want them to know that just because you're Catholic or just because you believe in God, it doesn't mean that you have to be pro-life. I mean, if you don't want to have an abortion, then don't have one. And I believe in God. I go to church and I teach my son the same values. And it's our right. It's our right to choose.
Do you know any women who have had abortions?
I have had an abortion when I was 17.
What was the experience like?
Well, I believe it. I saw a sign earlier that said I had an abortion to save my life. Maybe not medically it didn't save my life, but it led me to go on and to live the rest of my life and have a good life.
And what about men who may get a woman pregnant and then leave? Should they be held accountable? Or
Should the men be held accountable?
Should the woman be forced to have the baby and raise her on her own?
There's adoption. There are people waiting to adopt children that can't. Because the pro-abortion side wants every child to be wanted and loved, and they're killing them by the millions when there are people waiting to adopt.
And there's a lot of children that maybe are not wanted, and we have a huge problem with that. There are 14,000 kids in Houston waiting to be adopted.
Freedom to have babies or not have babies.
We're in love. You guys are so